My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. The Gospel today reminds me of the song, "Look What You Made Me Do" by Taylor Swift. When that song was launched, it set a global first-day record on Spotify with over 8 million streams. And even on YouTube, "Look What You Made Me Do" was played more than 43 million times in the first 24 hours. But as I listen to that song, I sense the retaliation and the revenge pouring out from the lyrics of the song. And I find its connection with the reaction of the two apostles in today's gospel. Jesus is heading towards Jerusalem, but he makes a side trip to a Samaritan village, and the village people would not welcome him because the destination of his journey was Jerusalem. And those village people would not want to have anything to do with the people of Jerusalem. So when James and John saw this, they asked, "Lord, do you want us to call down fire from heaven to consume them?" And I can imagine how they were boiling with impatience on the inside. And the lines from Taylor Swift's song come back to me. In one of the lines, she sings, "The world moves on, another day, another drama, but not for me. All I think about is karma." And then the world moves on, but one thing's for sure. Maybe I got mine, but you'll all get yours. And then there's more vengefulness when the song continues with the following lines. "But I got smarter. I got harder in the nick of time. I rose up from the dead. I've got a list of names, and yours is in red, underlined." So in the song, Taylor Swift was like punching back at some of her combatants. I'm not sure what ignited such an angry persona in Taylor Swift, at least in that song. But one thing is for sure. One of the painful things that we may experience in life is when people mistreat us, when they misuse us, or when they are unwelcoming towards us. We can't control them to act nicely towards us, but we can control us. We can manage our reactions. That's the lesson from Jesus in today's gospel. When the Samaritans did not welcome you, Jesus, in their village, and your apostles got angry, thank you, Jesus, for your example of patience, your example of understanding. You even told James and John to take it easy and not to be vengeful, because they wanted to curse those who did not want to welcome you. But you, Jesus, had a non-violent response to that rejection, because you did not come to destroy people's lives, but to save them. But you know, Jesus, how it's easy for me to get angry with people who oppose me. And yet you teach me to be more patient with people, so that when my patience is tested, help me to temper my tendency to return evil for evil. Help me to learn to accept the others as they are without making judgments. Because you know, Jesus, how I need to know how to enjoy people, since that is essential to cope with them patiently when they are different from me. It is said that when Pope Sixtus V, a pope of the 16th century, wanted to put the cardinals in their place because they were living rather in an atmosphere of relaxation than in the fulfillment of their duty, the cardinals were very upset with the Pope. And they recalled that Felix Peretti, that was the name of Sixtus V before he became Pope, had been a tender of pigs as a young boy. Some Franciscan friars found him reading the catechism while watching over his pigs, and they asked him what he wanted to be, and he replied that he wanted to be a man of God. So the friars took him and paid for his studies, and by his own effort he made it big time in the church. He ended up being the Pope. And so the cardinals were upset that a former tender of pigs would be their boss, considering that many of those cardinals belonged to noble families, because at that time the cardinals were chosen among the people of the most influential families, and not always for their exemplariness. So the cardinals commissioned a painting of Pope Sixtus where he is depicted surrounded by a dozen pigs. So can you imagine how the Pope reacted when he saw the painting? Instead of being bothered by the boldness, to say the least, of those cardinals who commissioned that painting, the Pope smiled kindly, and he sent the painter to put a cardinal's dress on each pig in that painting. And that's a funny story, but it should make us see the importance of knowing how to enjoy people, since that is essential to cope with them when they're different from us. And yes, people have their minuses, they have their negative points, but they also have their pluses, their positive points. So Jesus helped me to dwell more on what is positive in them. Give me the grace to see people with your eyes, especially those who think differently and who act differently from me. Because I can't be bitter and unhappy simply because others are not as I would like them to be. That's what happened to the Samaritans in the hostile village who would not welcome Jesus. Remind me, Jesus, that I can patiently bear my neighbor's way of being if my heart is greater, if it's stronger, if it's more generous, like your heart, Jesus. So I want to learn from you because you are meek of heart. And here we can apply a beautiful lesson from a man who tried to apply Jesus' teaching on forgiveness, the example of forgiveness of Jesus. Saint Josemaria Escrivá, who often said that he did not need to learn how to forgive because the Lord taught him how to love. So Jesus, give me love. Love that will help me to accept the other person as part of this world, even when that person acts differently than I would like. Give me patience, patience that will help me recognize that it doesn't matter if people hold me back, if they unsettle my plans, or they annoy me by the way they act or think, or if they are not everything I want them to be. And today, as Jesus speaks to us in this gospel, we resolve to be like Jesus, always ready to show compassion and forgiveness to people who don't understand us and who are very negative towards us, so that for their negativity towards us, we can give them a tit for tat with a positive twist. That for their negativity towards us, we in turn give them compassion and forgiveness. And at this moment in our prayer, let's take time to forgive and to pray for somebody whom we have not forgiven because of past hurts or grudges against that person. And let's thank Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for the grace of forgiveness that I'm sure you're giving us right now. Let's do that with Mary, our Mother Mary, who on Calvary received the grace to forgive those who took part in killing her son. I'm sure Mary united herself with Jesus in Jesus' prayer on the cross. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help to put them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.